Wow, what an introduction. I almost feel like I'm on American Idol or Dancing with the Stars. Okay, maybe not. I want to say thank you all and welcome to all of you here to this great event and to United Way. I want to say thank you for hosting this event here in Loveland because it's an important event. And I'd like to take just a special moment here to thank a group who does a lot of work in our community, and those are our elected officials that I'd like to recognize. So if you're an elected official, would you please stand? Because we appreciate everything that you do, and I know as a mayor I appreciate what you do. So. And I wanted to give a special thanks and special recognition to a couple of my fellow counselors who are here from Loveland, Carol Johnson and Kathleen McEwen, and to our city manager, Bill Cahill, and the rest of our city staff who are here. Thank you. But an even bigger thank you and a special thank you for attending today are all of you who are willing to listen about poverty. And I wanted to thank Mr. Duvall for all of his comments and for the opportunity to hear him speak about the Bridges and the Circles program. I had an opportunity to read his book, and Bridges to Sustainable Communities. I wanted to give you a couple of definitions that I took from his book. He defines dialogue as a conversation that opens up a topic and promotes understanding. He tells us that a discussion takes place when a group wants to narrow down the dialogue and work toward a decision. A mental model describes what poverty is and how communities can solve problems. Community is any group that has something in common and the potential for acting together. I hope I didn't misquote you there, Mr. Duvall. Well, today I am here to invite you to join in a dialogue about poverty in Larimer County. I want us to have that discussion to understand poverty in our community. As a group, we have a lot in common and we have the potential to act together. We have a proven track record in this county of finding solutions problems. Sometimes when I sit in an audience like this and listen to a speaker regarding poverty, I wonder about their background and knowledge on the issue. With your indulgence, I'd like to share a couple of stories with you. My father, who was one of the smartest men I've ever known, but not until after teenage years, had a 6th grade education. He worked for the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad on the section gang. That was back-breaking work. Lifting ties, moving rails, pounding spikes. This was not a high-paying job. My mother endured back-breaking work, tending to the needs of 8 kids. I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers. This also was not a high-paying job. My childhood home, for the first part of my life, was a converted boxcar that had been taken off the trolleys and set on the ground next to the tracks. Boxcar Willie had nothing on me. When I was about 12, my parents purchased a 1-bedroom house that actually had indoor plumbing. There was no money for luxuries, as all my dad's income went for the essentials, such as school clothes, shoes, and housing, and feeding us all. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining, and never did he either. He took on extra jobs. We sacked potatoes for a local farmer, where some of the pay was enough potatoes to get us through the year. We helped during the sheep docking season and branding season to get meat for the winter. We planted a huge garden. Problem solving. At the age of 8, I got my first job, shining shoes in one of the local barbershops for 25 cents a pair. I loved Saturdays because all the sheep ranchers and cattle ranchers would come to town and bring all of their dirty boots. And I got 50 cents a pair. I was the first person in my family to graduate from high school, and I went on to college by getting scholarships, student loans, working, and scrounging. My wife Kay and I were married between our junior and senior year in college. Actually, we just celebrated our 43rd anniversary yesterday. Our grocery budget during that first year was $5 a week. So much for the concept of two can live as cheap as one. So, I speak from personal experience regarding what it is like to balance buying food and paying for rent and utilities. As the mayor of Loveland, I am always pleased and proud when the Loveland, Fort Collins, Larimer County area is touted as one of the best places to live or retire in the entire country. However, there is another side that we need to recognize as well. In 2009, a family of 4 was considered to be in poverty if their income level was below $22,050. The same family of 4 had to earn $55,587 to be self-sufficient in Larimer County in order to pay for housing, childcare, utilities, and transportation. That is a difference of $33,000 between poverty and self-sufficiency. So even if a family is not living in poverty by the federal government definition, they may not be earning enough to get by without some sort of assistance, or they may find themselves in crisis. Based on the census data, we know that the poverty rate has increased in Larimer County since 2000. In 2009, the poverty rate was 14.3%, up from 12.4% in 2008, and up from 9.2% in 2000. There were 40,486 people living in poverty in Larimer County in 2009, which was up from 35,000 in 2008 and is probably higher in 2010. Of the 486,000 people, there were 7,600 children living in poverty and 1,951 seniors. That's more than 83 times faster than the rest of the nation. With no increase in Social Security income for 3 years and rising food and energy costs, this is a growing concern. It is important to note that 9 out of 10 people that live in poverty in Larimer County were born here. In 2009, 70,000 meals were served countywide by United Way partner agencies. That number increased to 269,000 meals served in 2010. A very disturbing trend over the last 10 years is the increase of the number of students in Larimer County eligible for the free and reduced lunch program. The percentage of elementary-age children on the program is significantly higher than district-wide numbers. The recession has placed an added burden on the agencies striving to meet the needs of those members of our community. They have done an incredible job of stretching resources. I am so proud and humbled by the work that has been achieved by so many of you. I'd like to share some examples with you. There has been a 44% increase in the number of persons served by disabled resource services from 2009 to 2010. There were 6,300 households in Larimer County assisted with their utilities last year. The House of Neighborly Service assisted nearly 21,000 individuals with food, housing, prescriptions, and clothing in 2010. The cost of full-time child care for one child is $12,246, and for 2 children is $22,043. The Colorado Child Care Assistance Program helps families in need with this cost. But there is a waiting list of nearly 245 families in Larimer County. This cost can be prohibitive to families getting ahead, or they are forced to make some very tough decisions about how to care for their children. One of the most important keys to self-sufficiency and poverty reduction is economic development. When jobs are available, economic security is much more attainable. This was highlighted for me recently through the process of trying to bring the Aerospace and Clean Energy Campus, or ACE as it has come to be known, to Loveland. As part of that process, we asked community members to send Valentines to key decision makers. I want to share an example of why getting this project to Loveland became very important to me. One of those Valentines came from a young man named Zachary. Here is what he had to say. Dear Ace, Loveland, Colorado needs you to work in Loveland. The economy is so bad here, and your business will definitely boost it up. The HP facility is amazing. I live right next to it, and maybe we can get together and you can interview me so I can support my mom that is in really bad shape. Please, I'd love for you to join our Loveland community. Thank you, Zachary. When economic development and job creation become a linchpin in addressing poverty, the end result will be an increased quality of life for all of us. It is important to have jobs that will help us retain the outstanding young people graduating from our schools and universities. They, in turn, can use their creativity to build a stable economy or become a quality workforce that attracts quality companies. We know that employees living in the community where they work are more invested in the community as a whole. Local government, United Way, nonprofits, school districts, faith-based community, private sector, none of those can solve the problem alone. We have a proven track record of collaboration in the city of Loveland and in Larimer County, and we must continue to work together to create and sustain long-term solutions. A perfect example of this collaborative spirit was the partnership of the Community Kitchen and the Loveland Berthoud Meals on Wheels. They built a new dining room onto an existing facility that can serve more people through that partnership. The fundraising efforts by last year's Leadership Loveland class established the annual Cajun Boil to help the Community Kitchen's fundraising efforts to meet that increased demand. The Sister Mary Alice Murphy Center in Fort Collins serves people across the entire county who are homeless or nearly homeless. They help provide housing, case management, employment, and health and mental health services. A partnership of Catholic Charities, the Red Cross, the Faith Community, and the United Way provides additional beds at the overflow shelter so the homeless can have a warm place to stay on cold nights. Project 137 in Loveland, the inclement weather shelter, is the result of a coalition of community volunteers, the House of Neighborly Service, the Faith Community, and the City of Loveland. The Food Bank for Larimer County provides food for thousands of our neighbors each year. Through the Kids Cafe program, the Food Bank partners with the Boys and Girls Club, the Core Center, the Loveland Housing Authority, and other local neighborhood centers to provide kids with a daily meal. Over 600 children were served in 2010. Now you know why I'm so humbled and honored by everything that you do. Louis Zamperini was an Olympic miler in 1936 and was a bombardier on B-24 bombers in the Pacific in World War II. He survived over 2 months on a raft in the Pacific when his plane crashed before being washed ashore on the Marshall Islands, only to be captured by the Japanese. He endured incredible savagery, depravities, and starvation at the hands of his captors. Although he survived, his personal life was a shambles upon returning home. His personal dignity had been taken away. It was only after years and lots of support from his wife and the Reverend Billy Graham that he finally was able to overcome his demons. In his biography, he says, and I quote, "Dignity is as essential to human life as water, food, and oxygen. The stubborn retention of it, even in the face of extreme physical hardship, can hold a man's soul in his body long past the point at which the body should have surrendered it. The loss of it can carry a man off as surely as thirst, hunger, exposure, and asphyxiation, and with greater cruelty." I tell you this story and quote from his biography for a reason. Although my family may have been poor, we always had our dignity. Even though we did not receive direct services, the farmers and ranchers who provided us with opportunities to work for potatoes and meat gave us the ability to maintain our dignity. My father was highly respected in the community because he was honest and a hard worker. His sense of humor went a long way in making friends. I recall Mrs. Harder, my third grade teacher, working with me on my reading skills during morning recess 3 times a week. She always told me that it was because I was such a good reader and she always enjoyed listening to me read. It was only later, years later, that it dawned on me what she had done for me. Miss Gibbons, my elementary band teacher, took me to concerts to hear Rafael Mendez, the world's greatest trumpet player. And afterwards, she called me her little Rafael Mendez. Mr. Davis, my high school band director, gave me many opportunities to direct the junior high band and let me be the pep band director. He also provided me with fundamentals to become an outstanding musician so that I could earn a scholarship to college. All 3 of these teachers encouraged, taught, and motivated me to go on to college and become a successful band director. Even though Miss Gibbons and Mr. Davis helped with lessons and even free concert tickets, they always did it in such a way that I always felt positive about the experience. I've always been impressed with the graceful manner in which our organizations provide services to our community members, and I have appreciated that very much. As we have the conversation, we must always keep in mind that a healthy serving of dignity needs to continue to be a part of the discussion. I ask today that you stay involved or get involved in helping to eliminate poverty in our community. Volunteering is as important as monetary involvement. Who knows what the end result might be? Someone we help along the way just might go from poverty to being mayor. Thank you very much.